What's up, people? Are you thinking of moving to Littleton, Colorado, and you want to know the down low? You want the skinny? You want to know what housing looks like in Littleton and what does it cost? Well, buckle up because that's exactly what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about the 5 different zip codes in Littleton, Colorado. We're going to talk about what those zip codes offer, what the housing looks like, and what the prices are. So let's get into it. So let's start with a map of Littleton so you can see what I'm talking about here. Now, Littleton sits on the south side of the metro area, and it sits in both county area and city area, so Littleton city proper. But we don't make any distinction here. It's all Littleton to us. Who you get your services from and where your kids go to school, those are the distinctions in the area, the city of Littleton. So you can see here on the map that Littleton starts at the base of the foothills and it goes all the way over. Now it covers 5 zip codes. It sits in 3 different counties and in 3 different school districts. Jefferson County Schools or Jeffco Public Schools, Douglas County Schools, and Littleton Public Schools. And all of them are really highly rated in the state. And you can check them out on niche.com or greatschools.org. And I highly suggest that you check out individual schools as well as the district. Now, I guess I didn't even introduce myself. How rude of me. I'm Kathy Hansen. I'm a local area realtor. I'm also a suburban mom. And welcome to my channel where I showcase living, working, and playing right here in the Denver metro area. I pretty much concentrate in the South metro area though. And I moved my family here 18 years ago from out of state, so I know what that feels like. Now, I would love to help you with any real estate needs. I love making these videos, but I love helping you with your real estate needs more. So all of my contact information is right here. It's going to be in the details section and the comment section below as well. So please don't hesitate to reach out with any of those needs. So here's another map to show you the zip code areas. We're going to start in the 80127. We're going to move over to 80125. We're going to go to 80128, 80123. Then we are going to end in the 80120. Now out here, we don't really talk in zip codes, but it gives me a good area, a good boundary to concentrate on because Littleton is so big. So the 80127 zip code is located in Jefferson County. So all of your services come from Jeffco, Jefferson County, like your snow removal, your schools, your public services from Jefferson County. And 80127 sits right at the base of the foothills. And there's a section of 80127 called Ken Carroll Valley that sits right on the west side of the Hogback. Now the Hogback is this small hill, this small mountain that you have to go through the one-way street to get in there, but it is spectacular once you get on the other side of the Hogback because you feel like you're away from it all. There's so much nature, so much scenery out there, and in reality, you're 5 or 10 minutes away from the grocery stores and the high school. Now here are some pictures from a hike that I took out there in Ken Carroll Valley so you can see what I'm talking about. There's lots of red rocks out there, lots of open space. There's a lot that area has to offer. Now this is Ken Carroll Valley, and it's one of the notable neighborhoods in Littleton in 80127. Now out here, you get lots of different living. You have tract homes, you have semi-custom homes, you have custom homes out here in Ken Carroll Valley, and a lot of them have decent sized lots. Now I'm not talking acreage or anything out there in Ken Carroll Valley, but you get good sized lots out here. And this area is pretty developed. So you're not going to see a lot of new construction out in Ken Carroll Valley, but this is a desirable area because of your location, because you're close to downtown Denver. You can get up there in 20 to 30 minutes. 20 might be a stretch, probably more like 30 depending on what time of day you go, but you're also right at the foothills. So you can get up to the mountain towns fairly quickly from this side of town because you're the very western, southwestern side of the metro area. And the big ski towns, well, they're about 1.5 hours to 2 hours away, again, depending on traffic. So a day trip skiing is definitely in the cards from this side of town. And 80127 is close to Red Rocks Amphitheater. And in my opinion, Red Rocks Amphitheater is a bucket list item. Everybody should go there. Now, Red Rocks Amphitheater is a big amphitheater built in the natural red rocks there in Morrison, which is just north of here, about 10 to 15 minutes from Ken Carroll Valley. And if you're into music, the concert venue there is spectacular. You get really great views of downtown Denver, and you're outside sitting amongst the red rocks. It's pretty incredible. Now, if music isn't your thing, they do yoga on the rocks. They do movies on the rocks. A lot of people go out there to work out, so there's kind of some great people watching on the weekend, and these people do some incredible things. And there's also tons of hiking right around there. So Red Rocks Amphitheater, it definitely is a bucket item. And a lot of schools do their high school graduations there at Red Rocks also, which is pretty cool. Now, the one thing a lot of people don't know is every performer that performs on stage at Red Rocks, well, there's a tunnel that goes from backstage to the stage, and every performer gets to sign that tunnel. So if your high school or your kid's high school is graduating at Red Rocks and your child performs there, like maybe sings a song or something, they get to sign that tunnel too, along with some musical greats. So it's pretty cool. So let's finish up 80127 with some housing stats. So the first quarter of 2024, there were 92 homes that sold in the 80127 for an average selling price of $643,000. And the average days on market was about 45 days. Now that includes prices, days on market, average selling price across all types of homes there in the 80127. And keep in mind that those luxury homes, well, they typically take a little bit longer to sell. Now let's go on to the 80125. And 80125 sits the very southern part of Littleton. And 80125 is in Douglas County. Now there is a ton of new construction going on in 80125. You have Sterling Ranch down there, which when it's completely built is gonna be about 12,000 homes total. And I've done tons of videos on Sterling Ranch, so you can go ahead and check those out once you're done with this one. And then another notable community down there in 80125 is the Solstice community. Now Solstice is much smaller than Sterling Ranch. It's only about 1,500 homes, and it's one of my favorite communities down there. And Solstice sits right next to Chatfield State Park. I mean, some of the people down there in Solstice can see Chatfield from their backyard. So it's pretty incredible because Chatfield has a huge marina. It's got a big lake that you can take motorized boats on. You can take jet skis on. There's a swim up beach at Chatfield. There's a separate section or another section that people do a lot of paddle boarding on. There's also a section that people go to practice their open water swims for triathlons. There's lots of hiking there at Chatfield State Park. There's horseback riding, there's fishing, there's an archery range. So there's lots of things to do right there at the state park, which is located right next to Solstice. And why I like Solstice so much, one is because of the location, but two, once again, you feel like you're away from it all. So you sit a little farther out from the foothills, and some of the places there have some spectacular foothill and mountain views. Plus the Highline Canal runs right through Solstice. And the Highline Canal is a trail that's over 70 miles long. It starts down there in that southern part of Littleton, and it goes all the way to the northeastern part of Denver. Again, 70 some miles. So you can break it up and do it in sections if you want, or you can bike ride the whole thing. And there are different parts of the Highline Canal that have different topography. So it's really kind of a cool thing as well. And it starts right there in Solstice. Now, I'll be honest with you, the infrastructure has not kept up with the growth down there in Sterling Ranch and Solstice. So there is one grocery store that was already there previously. And from both of these two neighborhoods, you're about 7 or 10 minutes away from that grocery store, but that's the only one that's down there. And it sits in a very small strip mall. That is the only retail that is in that area. Now there's gonna be grocery stores, there's gonna be retail, there's gonna be schools out there. They're just not there yet. So for schooling, the kids get bused to Highlands Ranch, which is in Douglas County School District, the same place that Sterling Ranch and Solstice sit. Now, some of the other notable areas down there in 80125 are Roxborough and Roxborough Park, which is very close to the Arrowhead Golf Course and Club, depending on where you're at in the neighborhood. And again, from there, you have some spectacular views of the big natural red rocks, the golf course views, and the foothill and mountain views. Now, housing stats for 80125, the average price home over the first quarter of 2024 was $825,000. And there were 126 homes that sold on an average days on market of 58 days. Now on to the 80128 zip code. Now in this zip code, you do get some lots that are bigger in size than your typical tract home lots. And they could go up to a quarter acre or half acre lots. And there are many more neighborhoods with those size lots in 80128 than there are in 80127. And some of the notable neighborhoods in this zip code are Normandy Estates and Columbine Knolls. Now, anything with Columbine in front of it has a huge sense of community. So if that's what you're looking for, then that area might be a great fit for you. Now, these neighborhoods are older neighborhoods, but they do have some amenities like tennis courts and pools. And then there's also the Polo Reserve, which sits in 80128 as well. And the Polo Reserve is a gated luxury community with homes ranging over $1 million up to $5 million. So let's get the housing stats on 80128. The average sales price of a home in 80128 in the first quarter of 2024 was $638,000. And there were 108 homes that sold during that time with an average days on market of 40 days. Now let's move on to the 80123 zip code. And there's lots of things happening in the 80123. You have lots of shopping there. You have the Southwest Plaza Mall is there. You have Clement Park, you have Costco, and you have lots of residential as well. Now, some of the other zip codes that I mentioned, they do have a grocery store. They do have small strip malls, but a lot of your major shopping is probably going to take place right on Wadsworth Boulevard, which sits in the 80128 zip code. And there off of Wadsworth, you have the Southwest Plaza Mall, which is the shopping mall. You also have Ulta, Sephora, Trader Joe's, TJ Maxx. You have tons of shopping there off of Wadsworth Boulevard. You have Hobby Lobby and Costco as well. And again, this is where the other zip codes go to shop because that's where it's all located. And it's not far away from any of these other zip codes that we're talking about. Plus there in the 80123 is Clement Park, and it's pretty incredible. I did a whole video about Clement Park, and I'm gonna link that right above here. So you could check that out, go watch it when you're done with this one. But Clement Park is huge. Now, I don't know how many acres it is, but it's really big. And they have an amphitheater there, so they do outdoor concerts or concerts in the park there at Clement Park. They have a huge 4th of July celebration there in the park where pretty much most of the city comes to. They have tons of big fireworks that go off, lots of food trucks. All of the kids see all their friends from school there. It's really a fun afternoon, and it's really a fun afternoon and evening. And there's a big lake right there at Clement Park as well that has an entire walking path around it. People jog, ride their bikes, rollerblade there. It's 1.4 miles around that lake. So that's you go around it 2 times, that's a pretty good exercise afternoon there. There's a restaurant that sits right on that lake as well called the Lake House, and they have this back patio that's phenomenal because you get lake views and you get those foothill mountain views while you're enjoying some really good food. And then Clement Park has a huge playground. And the playground is inclusive, so it's available or made available for people of all differing abilities. And there's gazebos you can rent at Clement Park, which people do that for parties and barbecues and graduation parties, things like that. There's a skate park there where kids go with their skateboards or their scooters. Then there's baseball diamonds, tennis courts, pickleball courts, softball fields, and finally, there's a huge splash pad there at Clement Park also. So you can see Clement Park kind of has it all. It's really a focal point of that part of Littleton. Now, some other notable neighborhoods in the 80123 is Grant Ranch and Governor's Ranch. And I did a whole video about Grant Ranch as well, so I'm gonna link that one above. You can go watch that one again when you're done with this one. But it's a highly desirable neighborhood. It's a tract home community. Off the top of my head, it was built in probably the mid-90s, early 2000s. They have a big pool that also sits on another lake. So a lot of houses there have lake access. Now you can't take motorized boats on that lake, but you can take paddle boards and kayaks and electric boats on that lake. They have an outdoor pool, tennis courts, playground, lots of community activities located in Grant Ranch as well. And then Bomar is another neighborhood I'll mention in the 80123. That is kind of a luxury exclusive neighborhood as well. They have a 100-acre lake in that community. That's a private lake, and it's not a tract home community. They have some mid-century modern homes there that are pretty spectacular, and they have lots of character in that neighborhood, which is one of the reasons why I like it. Now, housing stats for the 80123, there were 114 homes sold with an average days on market of 42 days. And the average sales price in 80123 in the first quarter of 2024 was $745,000. Now let's move on to our last zip code, which is the 80120. Now 80120 sits in Littleton City proper. It is the downtown Littleton area. And it also is Littleton Public Schools there. Now downtown Littleton is really cool. And not all of the cities in the Denver suburbs have these quintessential downtown areas, but Littleton has it, where they have mom and pop shops, ice cream shops, they have restaurants, bars, coffee shop, a tea room, a wine bar. There's even a little theater there in downtown Littleton, and that theater is really cool. It's not really big. Parking is just downtown Littleton parking, so there is somewhat of a little bit of an issue there. But in the theater, you can literally almost reach out and touch the actors. And so when my kids were little, it really kept their attention because they were so close to the actors. And that's kind of a fun day out, to go to a brewery or go to a restaurant and then go to that theater and see some of the shows there. They're really well done. Now, what I like about the downtown Littleton area is the housing there has lots of character. It's typically not tract home housing, and the homes there are a little bit older with tons of character. And there's lots of historic homes there in that downtown area as well. And then one thing I didn't mention is the Littleton Museum is also really close to downtown Littleton, and that's another fun day out with the kids. They have lots of historical stuff taking place there at the Littleton Museum, but they also have a small petting zoo, a living farm, so that's really fun for the kids and adults as well. Now the housing stats for 80120, the average sales price first quarter of 2024 was $667,000. There were 78 homes that sold, and they sold in an average days on market of 31 days. So I hope that this video gave you a really good idea of what Littleton has to offer. And if you liked this information, give me a thumbs up, show me some love, hit that heart button, let me know this was valuable to you. And if I could be of assistance to you with a move to Littleton or any other part of the Denver metro area, I would love to do that again as well. My name's Kathy Hansen. I'm a local area realtor. I'm also a suburban mom. And stay tuned because I do videos like this every week about what it's like to live, work, and play right here in the metro area. Now, I've done lots of other videos about Littleton as well. And in fact, I'm gonna go ahead and post one right here. So check that one out too, and I will see you right over on this video.